Hey everyone, you guys have all become quite familiar with the situation that has been ongoing in Flint, Michigan with their water issues. In case you guys are unfamiliar with what's going on, there has been some derelictions when it comes to politicians and the handling of the water situation. Now, it appears that the whole city of Flint has been poisoned. That's right, you heard me correctly. Poisoned. The water right there is unfit for human consumption, and well, it appears that it is most worst when someone is taking a shower with hot water. It opens up your pores, and you are completely poisoned with this water. And of course, ingesting it is also dangerous as well. But there were several rallies that involved the militia, the Genesee County Volunteer Militia to be exact. Well, I wanted to get down to the bottom of some of the information that was relating to the situation going on right there in Flint. So I made contact with the militia, and you can hear exactly what me and him talked about. He honored an interview with me. And for you who are tuning in right now, you can listen to that interview right here. Thanks, everybody. I go by Professor Doom on YouTube.
Hey, Danny, how are you?
Good.
Yeah. I was actually, was trying to check out one of your videos and got somebody from Russia wanting to interview me. It was like, wow.
Well, you guys are, you know what? You guys are making the rounds on the nation right now with this story. Go ahead.
We are, and it's been fabulous because it brings more. It's neat to see. I've got a rescue dog. Sorry, she's scared of a handful of change when I rattled it.
Oh.
What we did the other day is we had a rally.
Okay.
A rally / protest. Okay. And what it is that with all the issues and the finger pointing and the you did this and they did that and it's this party's fault and that party's fault, it's like, oh my gosh, what we need to do is come together as a community, and that was the message we were trying to instill. We're getting a lot of questions about, well, why were you armed? Well, because we're the militia.
Right.
And that's who we are. So we've been, it brought the news crews. When we speak, because we speak very softly, we tell people what we feel from the heart and what we're willing to do about it. Right. So when we made our statements the other day, we catched a lot of grief about taking up the arms. But the fact is we have already taken up arms in defense of the locals because we guarded for 18 weeks. We guarded every recruiting station in the county.
Right.
So whether we did it from in their parking lot or in front of their building, or if we stood off to the side so as not to, I don't want to say frighten folks, but not to make folks uneasy. But we were still there for a purpose.
Right.
So we've been pushing water for the last 10 days, and it's been, oh my God, it's been long hours. Hand unloading trucks and pushing water door to door, filters by the truckload. And we're just trying to get light of what's going on. And the sad thing is, I'm getting contacts from people all over the nation telling me the lead content of their water for public utilities, telling me about their horror stories about the trash dumps dumping into their local water resources. It's like, this is just saddening, to say the least.
Are you? I want to ask you a few questions. You don't mind if I record?
Sure.
You don't mind if I record this, right?
Not at all. Not at all. I fully expect you to be recording as soon as you hit as soon as I said hello.
Well, you know what? I got like close to 50,000 listeners who share a lot of my work. So I guarantee you, this is going to go out to a lot more people. So let me ask you.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate, but go ahead and hit the go button.
No, you know what? Let me tell you something. There are people out here who appreciate you guys even more. We need more people to be stepping up and seeing what's going on and get ready for what's hitting us.
Exactly. The problem is that, like I had said before, is that we go all the way from the city council clear up into the governor's office. Now, again, there's a lot of finger pointing. He said, she said, blah, blah. We don't know who is at fault at this time. What we were demanding the other day is that we were demanding accountability to all involved. all. And I don't care what position you held, what party you're with, and I don't care who you are. If you're guilty, you should be tried. Now, to be true, everyone is due their due process. However, they've poisoned a city.
There's people that have died behind this, correct?
There is. We have had no less than, and the most in I think 60 years is what I'm told on this. We have had 16 cases of Legionnaire's disease. 11 of those people are now dead.
Right.
It tends to affect the very young and the very old. As far as we can tell through normal sources of investigation of this, the worst contact that you can get is from the steam from your shower.
No kidding.
The people are terrified. You can't bathe in it. You can't drink it. You're being charged $150 a month on an average for a bit of poison.
Now,
and they're saying now that if you turn that water off, they're wanting your kids. Now, I don't know how true that statement is, but I'm seeing articles coming up with it, and it's being repeated door to door, and it's like, oh man, now what?
So basically, they're forcing you to pay for something that can kill you.
It is. That is exactly it in a nutshell.
So
that is.
So basically, I could go to a car lot and purchase a new car, and it doesn't have any brakes, but no, you're going to force me to take that car without brakes, and it can kill me. So what?
Exactly. You don't even get to pick the color of it at this point.
Right. So all of the listeners here understand the situation in Flint. Do we know where the poison may have?
We do.
Okay.
We have a real good grip on how this worked out. What happened is that the Flint River's water source, which was supposed to be an interim water source, in between the debate with versus money between Flint and the source of water down by Detroit. What they did is they went to which by the way, Detroit has proven that they offered it to us cheaper than we could have hooked to the Flint River. But we have an emergency manager on board here, actually a series of them due to mismanagement of local politics and money. They hooked to this water source that was approximately between 9 and 11 times more caustic than the water they were receiving from Detroit because it was treated.
Right.
Now, they put this water in the local pipes. What it's done, because our infrastructure is very old here in Flint, some of it 100 years old.
Yes.
We do have lead in the ground.
Right.
So when they pump this caustic fluid through it, it's eating the iron, it's eating the diverter valves, impellers, it's eating the lead out of the pipes, leaching it rather. It's eating the lead out of the solder for where it's into your home because we all have copper pipes locally. I mean, everybody in Michigan does. And they're all soldered together, and it all has some percentage of lead. So each and every solder joint is contributing to this. And what the end result is that especially as you get up into the 48504 and 48505 area, they're in a lower lying area versus when the original pipes were dug in, because it costs money to dig deep to put a pipe in the ground. So back when we had a great deal of money, we put them deep. As we've run out of money, they come up shallower, and this water tends to run down into that area, and it's eating your pipes. I have been at what they're terming ground zero over on up in the north end of Flint, and I have seen the water that's come out of the tap. It looks like it came out of your toilet. It is disgusting. It is unfit for humans to consume. It is not potable by any measure. And the governor's initial response to send the National Guard in, we were like, yeah, because we all support our military locally.
Of course.
We got a lot of boys and girls that wear the uniform. They get up and they put it on every day. When we thought, hey, here comes the National Guard, we're rah, and there's 7 of them. Guys, where's the rest? So the following week, he doubled it. That's 14 people. We have 100,000 residents, or 100,000 population inside the city limit proper. That's just not even feasible. So the militia, myself included, we started a grassroots program to try and pump water in. We were not the first. We are not the big help in town. That's been the Red Cross, and we have worked diligently for them as often as they'll have us. Go out and catch up with whatever ERV and help them distribute the water. We do so in civilian clothes, and we do so unarmed.
Right.
We don't wish to make anyone uneasy. Not everyone agrees with the Second Amendment. We get it. But this isn't about that. And same Sunday, this wasn't about a Second Amendment march. This was about water.
Now, let me ask you this question. Did the Red Cross come in under their own volition, or was this something that
Oh, yes.
Okay, the governor didn't have any hand in...
Not to my knowledge, he didn't.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge, sir.
So here's the other thing. You know, that's one thing I wanted to... I was really concerned when I started hearing this about they are demanding that you leave the water on and pay your bill for poisonous water.
I've heard the same. At this point, I'll say rumor. I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine somebody poisoning a city either. But I guess that's my own. That's basing everything against my own values. But I can't imagine that the state would want to come in and take people's children from them out of homes. First off, what would you do with that many kids?
Right.
You're talking 20 or 30,000. Our state is not set up for that. I mean, physically, it's impossible.
Right.
So you're going to do what? Displace all the children in the city? No, I don't believe that to be true. But I'm hearing the same rumor, and we're doing everything we can to find out the truth of that. And again, we haven't heard of a single instance of it, and you know, thank God for it. But we are eyes wide open and ears open as well.
Have you or any Mr. Kroll, have you guys made contact with the Child Protective Services there to ask them if they've been put under order to remove any kids?
No, the CPS doesn't really want to talk to the militia.
Sure.
There's been some bad light put towards the militia in recent times, and depending on which side of the fence you fall on is how you feel about it. But
are we talking about
we're trying to do the?
Are we talking about the Oregon situation?
To some extent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
we are to some extent, and others.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the militia movement, you follow it all the way back, and again, there are some good, there are some bad. Some people feel that we're a godsend. Some people look at us like we're the devil. So, truth is, we're your next door neighbor, and most of us are veterans locally. And what we are is this is just nothing more than the next step of civic duty after having left the active military, and then whatever National Guard or auxiliary you were with, and then this is just the next step.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up about being ex-military. Here's what I've been noticing is going on is that the militia and veterans both are being demonized by our very own government. You could see that they are targeting veterans as far as VA benefits. If you make one wrong step, they're going to take away your right to possess firearms. And
well, that's not the only right they take away.
Oh,
that's not the only right. You're talking about the PTSD situations.
Yeah.
Well, I look at a lot of the. Go ahead.
Well, that's not just the PTSD. We're talking about if you get money direct deposited to your account, they're deeming that as you're unable to deal with your own finances.
Financial.
Right, and that's
exactly
crazy.
Financially inept.
Right.
Right, financially inept.
Doesn't that seem like a huge? Doesn't that seem like a huge attack? Just for
huge. That would be a huge infringement, and I have yet to hear of a single case of that being enforced.
Well,
and I am tied in with I don't know how many groups. But
there was an incident that just took place similar to this in Ohio about 4 months ago. I don't know if you remember that. That's where they were going to be coming to that guy's house and impounding his guns. And
yes, I saw that. The veterans and the local sheriff showed up and said no.
Exactly. I did an interview with the Ohio militia at that time over that incident. And they did not follow through. Why? Well, because they know that there's going to be a huge blowback over doing something so ridiculous.
The people have honestly told big government no. And the thing is that unfortunately we have allowed through actions or inactions this to happen to ourselves.
Right.
Many people say, well, my vote doesn't count. my opinion doesn't count. Why should I get active if they're just going to ignore me? Because if you sit back on your haunches and bitch from behind the keyboard, you've got no right to bitch anymore.
Right.
You need to get out and get active in your community. You need to become, if you've got a project, and forgive the term, a pet project, if you've got something that means enough to you to make an opinion about it, get out and tell somebody. Make your voice heard. That was the actual end result that we were looking for on Sunday when we had our rally. Is that get out and get the community active in one voice. Because if it's one voice joined by many, it's too loud to be ignored.
Right. Now, when you guys showed up armed, did you have some individuals from the community that were reluctant to maybe even stand with you or anything like that, or did you?
Several.
Okay, yeah.
Several. I had invited 9 pastors of primary churches locally, a couple of the civic leaders. I had a total of 3 show up, and I was blessed to have them there. But the end result was there were less people speaking from the community and from the heart than I could have wished.
Right. You know what? I kind of figured that something that they're being trained by their very own government through propaganda and other inputs into being scared of not only guns but militia alike. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
I do. And the thing is that what they don't see is that we're out on Saturday morning before traffic gets real bad, and we'll cruise through down a street that someone has happened to notice, and we'll grab bags of garbage. Or we've helped rebuild playgrounds locally. We don't tell them we're the militia. We don't come in there with the guns on. We don't wear, and especially the long rifles, because that seems to be a trigger for a lot of people. Oh, Lord, it's an assault rifle. Please don't get me started on that. But the fact is that if we show up armed and in uniform, I have had everything screamed at me from being a fascist to a Nazi. And it just couldn't be further from the truth. They
don't seem to realize. You know what? All you have to do, okay, and I know you're probably ex-military, and I hope you don't take offense to this.
Sure.
But everything in my research of history has led me to believe it has been our government that has always started something, all right? Whether it's the Bay of Tonkin or whether it's the Spanish-American War or whether it's World War II, World War I, it has always been kicked off with the false flag. And I know, and I'm not taking any page from Jesse Ventura, all right? I'm just speaking I'm just speaking the truth of my own research here. And what people don't seem to understand is if you go all the way back to the Revolutionary War, if it wasn't for individuals that were ready and willing to step up and them having guns, we would have never divested ourselves from the tyrannical crown. So what do they think is going to happen when you have a government that is completely tyrannical against you? Who do you expect is going to stand up and defend you against slavery? It's going to be people like you and patriots of this country.
It will be the patriots of this country. And we have said all too often lately that, maybe we need to tone it down, or maybe we need to just kind of kick back, so that we can preserve our numbers. Because we all feel the same, is that all too soon America may need her sons and daughters. It's been the government situation and their overreach. I mean, just blatant and illegal overreach. The BLMs, the creation of DHS, which does serve some purpose at least, but not for the size of that entity. What do they have? 140-some thousand employees and more than 6 billion rounds of munition.
I have yet to see anything good about the formulation of the Department of Homeland Security. I have yet to see anything. I mean, you may see something different, but from everything I've seen, they have been more of I'd say a heavy boot on the United States than anything else.
In all honesty, what I think they should have done rather than create the DHS was I think they should have enlarged the local sheriffs. The local sheriff has been the mainstay of the small community for so long, and our local sheriffs here have done just righteous work with all of this. They're good folk, and we don't have a problem with them. But I see some other federal agencies that don't act according to how everyone expects them to, and it's sad. It's just sad. So anyway, the water situation now, what we're the long-term fix, that seems to be everyone's question. What are we going to do about this? Well, the fact is there is no good answer, and there's no magic wand that can be waved over this to make this happen overnight.
No.
We are locally.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are locally stuck in this. We are locally stuck in this for the long haul. They're talking years and upwards of over $1 billion. And if you look at our population base versus the city of Flint, it would almost, and I say this sadly, but it would almost be cheaper to pick everyone up and move them away. We just don't. We don't have that kind of a tax base.
Right. Now, let me ask you this, and this may sound, I know this is going to sound really, really crazy. Do you think that there's a possibility that this could have been an intentional act to maybe promote?
Oh, well, let's see. Intentional act. It wasn't an intentional act. Now, what you're asking about is the motive that someone expressed in that act, and to that I can't answer.
Well, what is your gut feeling? What is your gut feeling?
Well, I'm told, here real quick, I'm told that for $100 a day, they could have put anti-caustic agents to reduce the acidity of that water at $100 a day for the entire city, and it would have prevented all of this. To say that someone has intentionally poisoned the city, because that is in effect what has happened. I can't say. I have to base that from the beam of how I judge myself, and I would have to say no then. But then I look at what has actually happened, and I just can't speak for that. I don't know. So
while you were there, while you showed up for the rally and everything, did you notice any kind of three-letter agencies monitoring your activities whatsoever?
We did it right in front of the cameras of the federal building, sir.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that, but I mean, there's one.
No, the federal building where we stood. Now there were some gentlemen that came in and out, some in uniform. One of the National Guard come out, a couple sheriffs. They had a cigarette on the back porch. They watched us do our thing. They walked back inside. But in all honesty, it was done right in front of the microphones and the cameras of the federal building across the street. It was partly intentionally that we set that up that way.
Right.
No one can question what happened. Matter of fact, when the lady ran into my trailer trying to get water with her car, even that was recorded. So
right now, what we can leave this off right here. Tell me this, sir, and again, I would just want to state for everybody listening is that, you guys have really stepped up and did a wonderful job. I just want to tell you that.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. I know a lot of people who are going to be listening to this share the same sentiment that I do. The last thing that I want to state is this. Now we find ourselves in a present situation. And now we have to look towards the future here. What do you think? Because basically we cannot sustain the situation that you have. I mean, what are we going to do? Bottle water for showers? And no, that's not going to happen. So what are we really looking at? What is going to be the ultimate answer here?
We're going to have to put cameras in those pipes and see what the effect is. Unfortunately, there's going to have to be a study and a game plan to replace bad piping, diverter valves, and water mains under the streets, the primaries.
That's a lot of work.
The infrastructure is going to have to be. You have no idea.
Oh, I do.
And one of the biggest things that we're demanding, secondary to accountability and transparency of the investigation, as well as what the public officials are doing, is we want to know. We want the work to stay as local as possible. We have a very large population local that is unemployed, and it's unemployable. Why not teach them a skill? No offense, how hard is it to run a backhoe? Right. You can teach a man how to do that. You can teach a man how to run a shovel when you got a hand clear.
Right.
So let's keep this work as local as possible rather than going to large corporate out-of-state corporations. And let's do this. But the amount of pipe and the amount of money is going to have to come from the federal government. We pay them enough, but Michigan has a $575 million surplus, but that's for the entire state for the year. That's supposed to include more other disasters, school emergencies, snow emergencies, a bridge collapse that has to be replaced. I mean, all that money comes out of that fund. And while it sounds like a large number, the amount of money required to replace the infrastructure in Flint far exceeds that.
Right. Well, with all the money that Obama's spending on vacations here the past 2 years, he would have been able to.
That.
He would have been able to afford replacing those pipes twice over.
Well, maybe not twice over, but certainly a couple of streets of them. And here's another one. Rather than fighting a senseless war, and again, I'm a veteran. I mean, over in Afghanistan, what exactly are we fighting for there?
Well,
right. We're not fighting the people of Afghanistan. So we're either protecting them or we're addressing them, or we're fighting, as it's been stated over and over, the ideology of the caliphate. But the fact is, bring those boys home. We could use them.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? One thing I hope beyond everything is that the men and women in uniform, if they're given an order to go door to door and it has anything to do with guns, I hope they think long and hard, and I hope they think twice about accepting any kind of orders when it comes to that.
We've actually done a lot of questioning into that whole subject there. Mm-hmm. We have actually gone to the troops, as many as will speak to us, in the bars, in the restaurants, outside of local training areas, wherever we can find them. And we've asked that very question. And the same answer that we get from them is the one that we say is that we don't attack Americans. It just doesn't happen.
That's right.
We all gave the same oath. We all feel that oath to our soul. So no, I don't see that ever becoming an issue. The anti-gun push, it's just another executive order.
It is, and you know what? Think there's a lot of constitutional sheriffs that are stepping up right now and saying, "No way, Jose, we're not going to enforce any kind of that's a law against the Constitution that you're creating, and it's null and void, and we are not going to enforce that." So
exactly,
sir.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
I appreciate every moment that you took to speak with me. I will be putting this up on my channel.
Thank you.
I hope that you get a chance to check it out and see exactly how many people respect exactly what you guys are doing over there. And I want to thank you again. All right?
We appreciate the help and bringing this to light. And have a great day, sir.
Hey, you too, sir. All right.